Oh, there it is.
All right, we're live. Hey,
Hi.
super excited. Hi, guys.
Okay.
So,
Where to start? Where to start?
welcome, everybody, to the first Direct Selling Success Tips Hangout. I am Apple Daniels. I am super excited to be here, if you can't tell. I'll let Shalonda introduce herself.
And I am Shalonda Gordon, and I am excited as well to be here. It's getting ready to be an amazing time as things start ringing all of a sudden, right? Okay, I hear something in the background. But guys, we just want to welcome you here today because we know if you're here, obviously you're indirect sales or some call it network marketing, right, Apple?
Yeah. Direct
Honestly,
sales, network marketing, MLM, pretty much covers it.
yeah, all those names. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Today, I had a moment because I was like, okay, back when I joined network marketing, it was about 20 something years ago, and it was called network marketing or MLM, right? And then this direct selling came out, and I was like, well, let me do some research and see what that means. Like, what does direct selling mean? And I actually looked it up and found that it was, okay, wait for it. Okay, it was network marketing. That's basically what I found out. That's basically what I found out. So I was like, oh, okay, it's just a new word because sometimes the lingo changes and you just got to stay up with the times, point
Right.
blank.
And I
So
think
that's
it's
what
a matter of comfortability too. You know, some people are comfortable using the term direct sales, and some people are comfortable using the term network marketing. But at the end of the day, um, the goal is ultimately the same thing, right? We're all looking for financial freedom. We're all looking for entrepreneurship. We're all looking to do something different than the traditional 9 to 5 that people say we absolutely have to do, right?
exactly, exactly. And it's interesting because even with that, you go on and you do everything. You join a business, right? You've done everything that you were told to do, right? You've been to the meetings, you have invited people to the meetings, you have met everybody you know, and still you're wondering, like, what is it that's missing? Apple, what did you find might have been the number one thing that was missing when it all went down?
For me personally, it was the skill set, and there were just a lot of things that I had to learn from a mindset perspective. Not necessarily the technical aspects when I say skills, but more so the mindset of an entrepreneur, the mindset of a direct sales rep, the tenacity that you need, the ability to keep going out there and just keep pushing no matter what. That was the biggest thing that was missing for me. What about you?
Um, I went to college for chemistry, and in chemistry we spent time in the lab. I never really knew what marketing was, just kind of thought it was a word people threw out there. So I had no idea how to market. Like I had no idea how to market. I didn't even know that it was something. Here's the kicker. I didn't even know it was something I didn't know. That's how crazy it was. Like, I thought
Right.
I had it all down. I was like, well, wait a minute, marketing. Wait, I don't know it. Wait, okay, I need to know it. Like that's how it was. That's how it was marketing, figuring out how to actually get people to what I was doing, and then not have to play the convincing game. Like I desired a rejection-free life. Period. Like
Right.
that was it, and I didn't know how to do that at
Right.
all.
And that was my thing, even with the mindset thing, was having that posture, understanding what it was I was offering, who I was supposed to be offering it to, and then having the confidence and the mindset to know that it's okay because it may not be for everybody. You know what I mean? But the person that is supposed to be on my team or join me or partner with me is out there. And so yeah, but you know what and sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And you just can't help it. They have this app, and I don't know if you've seen it, Shalonda. They have this app called Time Hop. And what I really like about Time Hop is it goes back to like your Facebook, and it shows you kind of like your statuses from a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that whole deal. And so I got in network marketing in 2006, but I started marketing online in 2010. So I'm able to now go back and look at some of my first statuses of when I started marketing and how I was approaching this thing online. And it's crazy. I mean, it's really eye-opening to look at and see what I was doing back then versus what I'm doing now. And I'm telling you, I was laughing. When I say every day I look at that thing, I laugh at myself like I cannot believe that I actually said that. I can't believe I was actually saying that kind of stuff to people, to try to get them to join what I was doing. So it's interesting.
See, I'm just letting you know I am now downloading that app
Are you?
because I want I want to see too, because I know when I got on Facebook, Lord, nah, it was not on it like that, guys. I hope you got that app so you can use that later. Stay connected to that now. That is amazing.
I want to see if I could find one from a couple years ago. It was the stuff I was saying. I mean, it was hilarious. Actually, it goes all the way back to 5 years. So I didn't say anything that day. Let me see,
So it goes back 5 years from like the day it is.
I think so. Yeah, and it does it every day for the exact day it is. So you'll see it like last year would have been what? Today would have been Tuesday last year. So last year, Tuesday, we had some random thoughts, posted a couple Facebook photos, posted a photo of my one of my sons. Nothing big happened. But yeah, and 5 years ago, obviously, I wasn't marketing online. But I mean, it's an interesting app. You guys should check it out. At best, it lets you kind of go back in time and relive some of those moments that you had. So
It definitely shows you how far you've come. Like, it's always good to go back and see what you've done to see where you're at. I was telling you earlier today how today I was at the gym getting my workout on, just really focused, had my, my mindset audio in my ears, and I'm just working it out, feeling the burn, feeling the pain, And then this guy, randomly, he's like smiling at me, and I'm like, oh, hey, and I'm still working it out, but I can't really hear anything because I have my audio in my ears. And I look at him and notice he's talking, like his mouth is moving. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, he's saying something to me. So I take my, headset out my ear, and I'm like looking at him like, yeah, I kind of knew what you were saying. And he's asking me questions along the lines of, do you keep your business options open? Now, I'm just going to say, to be honest with you, I was in the gym. Like I said, guys, I'm feeling the burn. I'm not finna talk about this right now. I didn't come here for that. I came here to get my workout on so I could be fresh, right?
right.
And it's funny because as I'm looking at him and he's going on and on and on and on and on and on to the break of dawn, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, that sounds so familiar, because a good 10 years ago, let's be honest, we could have totally switched roles and I'd be looking at myself. And when you're in that position, it helps you to realize, look, I can approach this a few ways. I could be like, I'm not in the mood for this. You working in my workout time. I got to get home to my kids. I only got a few minutes here to finish up and go ride this bike and feel the pain and the burn. Or I could turn this thing around and really put in a position where I can help him, I can help him realize, there's a different way that you can be growing your business right now. And it's so awesome that you don't even have to worry about the rejection of individuals being like, I don't know you, and I'm not going to connect with you like this,
Right.
And so by the end of it, luckily, I got his information, he got mine. He's now looking for other ways to leverage so he can have a rejection-free business and direct selling. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, though, I wouldn't have really known how to approach it had I not accepted the fact that that used to be me. And you know what? It's okay. It's okay. We had to start somewhere. You know what I mean? That thing was funny for a second, though, because it took me a second to remember that it was me. Because, you get caught up in what you do. So my mind is just wondering, like, I know he's not doing this to me right now. I know this is not actually happening to me right now. And then I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it is. It's happening. What you going to do about it? You know what I mean?
Right. It's interesting because it's like the other day, I got hit in my inbox from somebody that I hadn't really communicated with in a while on Facebook, and he did the whole thing with, he's in a health and wellness company. He did this whole thing with, do you or anybody need to lose a lot of weight fast? I can't remember what his exact, verbiage was or whatever. I'll see if I can find it, but it was something to that effect. It was a very general statement. You know, more than likely he had saw something on my page with the whole workout thing and kind of some of the stuff that I've been doing or whatever, doing my T25 and working out and whatnot. And so I'm sure that was a direct to me. And I just kind of responded. I was like, no, I was like, unfortunately, I don't. You know, everyone I know is either doing a program or, you know, they're already in a company, basically. Like, I know you're trying to pitch me, and I'm not interested. And I don't really want to hurt your feelings, but, you know, look, I think that there's a certain way that you have to approach the direct sales industry and how you approach people. At this point, there are so many network marketing companies. There are so many opportunities out there that people are no longer excited about, you know, the latest and greatest thing that's coming out. That's not really what's selling people at this point. And when it comes to you being successful in direct sales, it really boils down to understanding who you are, again, and what you're selling and who you're talking to. Those are the three main things that you have to understand to be successful in direct sales, because if you don't have that, then you're going to lose every single time, because there's somebody else with a stronger mouthpiece, you know, so to speak, a stronger level of understanding about the business, a better position for talking. Maybe they have a better car. Maybe they just, their perceived value is a little bit better than what you may have to offer, but they're offering the same product as you. Who do you think the person is going to go for? And so when it comes to being successful in direct sales, I think the number one thing that you have to understand is building yourself, you know, as the commodity and not necessarily the product and or service.
Yes, that is, you know, that's so important. That's so important because even still, too, I don't know, Apple, how many, over the years, how many businesses you've been a part of until you found that one when you locked down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been in for, since I was 19. I'm not going to, you know, go into my age because I keep being told I don't look nearly as old as I am. We're going to roll with that, right? We're going to roll with that. Yet, when I was 19 when I joined my first business, and I invested $5,000 into that thing. And back in those days, you got a lot of products. So I paid $5,000 and I had $5,000 worth of product that now I had to unload. But remember, keep in mind, I didn't know how to market. And it's interesting, all these different businesses, had I branded Shalonda when I was 19, it wouldn't have mattered where I went. Right. But for the first 10 years of that, I was branding that company, and then it was me. You know, and even still, let's really be honest. And Apple, tell me if you agree with me. Not only branding that company, but branding that company and then that company's top earners and then that company's product, whatever. I really branded myself zero. I'm just some random person out here moving products. You know what I mean? You know, so it's, and that didn't sound right, but you know what I'm saying?
No, you know the truth, because here's the thing. And so I've been in a lot of companies, right? And initially I started off like everybody else, joining my friends, joining my family, somebody I knew introduced me to something. Now, you know, when I get ready to make a decision about business, I actually search for who are the top people, and maybe that's wrong, but I do my research because I want to know. And so if you're coming to me and you're talking to me, especially at this point in my career, and you're talking to me, and what I'm hearing from you is, well, so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, it might sound wrong, but I'm going to go look at so-and-so. And I'm probably not going to join you. I'm probably going to join so-and-so, because if you're pumping so-and-so up, well, shoot, why wouldn't I join so-and-so? You know, so I can get some of all this fabulousness that you're saying that they have. It's no offense to you. But again, it goes back to people join you. They don't really join the business. And so if you're not branding yourself, if you are not positioning yourself as a leader, it doesn't matter how much you've made monetarily. It's your conversation. It's your value that you're bringing. It's what you can offer. I don't mind signing with somebody who is not necessarily a top leader, but maybe your value and your conversation and how you're approaching business is what's going to attract me. You know, so if you have that on point, we're good to go. If you don't, and you're constantly telling me about this person and that person and this person and that person, and I'm thinking that when I join your business, you're going to be depending on me to lead your team, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
It's not. It's not. Okay, Apple, I did download the Time Hop, right? And it did tell me that a year ago on Tuesday, I have a picture of some cheerleaders and they standing and they got their leg, like one leg up here. So they holding their leg up like right here next to their head. And it says flexibility is power, flexibility is power, flexibility is power. I'm a work in progress and that's okay. Love this one. Keep smiling. And I'm looking at it now like, dang, I'm still working on that flexibility because ain't nobody near having a leg right here. Now, now 4 years ago, here's where it gets it. 4 years ago, it was a Friday, and I said, I'm ready to help one person change their financial situation on the internet. Keep smiling. I say that shows consistency, right? 4 years ago, we was in it. We still in the game today. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and so that's
Still
why it
doing this.
doesn't necessarily have to be a negative about your marketing. It could be a positive about your marketing too. And you can see the areas where, okay, I'm still working on that, or I haven't quite gotten there yet. Or you can say, dang, I've come a long way, from where I was. I was here and this is what I was talking about, or this is where I was in my life at that time. And I look at my career now and I've completely grown. Like I know both you and I, even over the last, 3 years, have grown tremendously. Every area may not be where we want it to be, but for the most part, I've done a lot of growing. I've done a lot of growing. And I know you can say that too. And so, another valuable lesson to that when it comes to direct selling success, it's a tongue twister, is to be consistent and to stay in the game. You know what I mean? You're gonna have peaks and valleys. You're gonna have periods where you're like, man, this is going well, and then it's like, oh crap, what did I do? I'm like the worst marketer in the world, and I don't know. And I've been there, and then some stuff happens. You get a little bit of momentum. You're like, oh wow, okay, yeah, I'm doing good, and then you're like, crap, here we go again. Like, what did I do? And the most valuable thing that you can do for yourself is to, number one, like I said, stay in the game. But number two, evaluate the situation. Don't look at it like, oh man, I failed, or I did this, or I did that. Look at, what's the learning lesson? I was having a talk with God, because we do that, Shalonda. So I was having a talk with God, and I was like, okay, there are certain areas in my life and my business where I feel like I keep coming back to the same point. And at this point, I don't feel like, okay, well, why me, God? Well, why this and why that? What I feel like is, okay, what is the lesson I'm not learning that I keep ending up right here? There's something I didn't get the first time or the second time or the third time around, and it's real, and so when it comes to your business, whether you believe what we believe in God or not, but when it comes to your life, your business, you have to ask yourself, what is the lesson I'm supposed to learn? Because once you learn that lesson, then you can move on to the next thing, and once you move on, that's growth. You've grown, you've passed it, it's all good, you're on to the next thing, ready for the next lesson or the next test or whatever. So that's my approach to this. I don't know if you have your own, I'm sure, Shalonda.
It's similar, as because we have similar ways, but it's similar. I will say, once, it's funny how, I don't know if you experienced this, I'm pretty sure you have, but when you approach it and you get and you go into the fire really and you come out new, right? You resolved it, you understand what that thing is. It's like then, now that this is off, now there's a whole other layer that you're like, well, wait a minute. Now something else has been revealed that was kind of hiding underneath that thing, if that makes sense. And so now it's another level, which is why I believe our growth, when you look at mindset, you look at really pretty much sitting down and saying, look, I don't know what I think I know. And even if I do know it, I'm going to set it down just in case there's a better way to do it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so even if I do know it, I'm going to sit it down just in case there's a better way. Because as long as I keep what I know in front of me, I'm not going to see what I don't know. And so I think through the mindset and all of this over the years, that's been something where it's like, okay, I might know that. And learning something new doesn't negate what you already know. So during this series, Apple and I are going to be here every week, right? Our times might change. We're kind of testing. We are, at the end of the day, guys, marketers. And in order to be a true marketer, you must test. If you're not testing to see what's working in the market, then, okay, you just need to test. I don't really know what to say with that. You just need to test, right? So throughout the time, we'll go into that. But basically, we're going to be here all the time. We're going to be going through some things that help you realize some areas that can shift, some areas that can change. Yet it does you no good if you don't decide, you know what, there's always something I could be learning. There's always something I can know. And like I was saying, as long as what you think you know is in front of you, and even though you may know it and you may know it very well, just set it down for a second just to see if there's more you can get out of that area. And I say this because I know when I was in direct selling, when I first started, and I had joined someone I really didn't know, who really didn't know anything themselves. They had joined someone who really didn't know anything themselves. The only time we found out anything was on a Thursday night or a Tuesday night or at a Super Saturday, where we're in front of these people that decided to drive in town with these big checks, and they weren't even their checks. They were somebody else's checks. But that's a whole nother issue. And so they're sitting here telling us to do stuff. We go out and try to do it, and at the end of the day, we still fail. At the end of the day, we still did not have success. It wasn't until, and I know Apple can speak to this too, locked arms with somebody who had proven success, decided this person is going to be my mentor. I'm going to do what she says. I'm going to do it how she says it. And I'm going to pay attention and look at myself to see where I can make a shift so that I can have the success I desire. Why did you join your business? Write that thing down and keep it in front of you. Your why has to be big. I'm sure you got that on Super Saturday or at your meetings. They say it everywhere all the time, right? So you have to know your why. And when you know that, it's so much simpler to see yourself in where you need to make that change, where something's going on. I actually went and saw our mentor, Apple, on like Monday, right? So I'm sitting there and she's like, so what's up with you and your business? Now, you know, sometimes you dread the question when your mentor looking at you like, you know, I'm doing the dang on thing, you know, she got a Maserati in the garage or whatever, and you kind of like, okay, you know what I'm saying? So she's like, how's your business? I'm just like, I'm quiet for a second, because I'm like, how do I word this? And then I just spit it out, and I'm like, look, I've been in this rebellious place. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I'm rebelling, you know, and I see it in my children. I see it in my kids, you know. And so I was like, I'm right there, but instead of doing what I know I need to do, I'm rebelling and convincing myself some reason I don't want to do that. So what I did after I talked to her about a few things, we kind of worked that thing out, and I left there, and the minute I feel like I don't want to do something, I do the exact opposite than how I feel, and I do it. So if I don't feel like sending you an email, because some of you might have got email from me or from Apple, if I don't feel like sending you an email, guess what? I'm going to send you an email. If I don't feel like doing a video today, I'm going to do a video. If I don't feel like, you know, picking up the phone and calling a few people that I want to talk to because they've inquired about what I'm offering, then I'm going to do it anyways. And I don't know, Apple, if you've experienced that, but, you know, a lot of the time in this growth process and in this business to be successful, you'll find yourself doing the exact thing you don't want to do often. Like often, but then it gets to a point where it just feels so good because the checks start rolling in, and it don't feel like you don't want to do it anymore because you can kind of equate it with the checks. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And a lot of times when we don't want to do those things, it isn't necessarily like a rebellion, like maybe in your case, but it might not be a rebellion. It might be something like, you know, you have an internal fear, or there's something internal that is keeping you from the result at the end. Like, you know, if you send that email, you know, it just may attract those people that you want. But then there's something inside of you that might say, well, do I even deserve that? You know, like, I know that it's possible. I've seen it happen for other people. I would want it to happen for me. I kind of hope it'll happen for me, but I don't necessarily know that I deserve that. And it might not even be something that you're doing consciously. It could just be an unconscious thing. Like, I notice that every time I get close to a point where I'm getting ready to like overcome something, somehow, some way, for some reason, I had, and I'm saying had because I no longer have, had this tendency to somehow fluff it up. Don't know why, don't know how, don't know what it is, but there was something internal that was like, it's kind of like those moments where, so Shalonda knows, I really don't like, I did not in the past like public speaking. I had an issue with getting on calls. I had an issue speaking in front of people, and every time I would get close.
We can tell.
Which, right, can you tell? Yeah, I still have that issue. No, but every, every time I would get to the point where I would get ready to do a call, I would have to lead a call, I would have to present something, I would find some way, some reason, somehow to not do it. And I would have somebody, you know, cover for me. And I found all kind of reasons. I mean, I was the queen of finding, you know, reasons to avoid having to speak in front of other people because I just was that uncomfortable with it. But it wasn't until I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do this and I'm going to overcome it. And I chose a big way to overcome it. I chose one of the biggest ways possible to overcome it. But once I did, you know, it was a relief because it was like, okay, you know what, I can do this. And there's really nothing to be afraid of. And there were so many other opportunities and blessings on the end of that. So I think sometimes we subconsciously sabotage ourselves because like you talked about earlier, the fear of rejection or worrying about, you know, what's going to happen or what's, you know, what's not going to happen if we do or don't do this particular thing.
That is very valid. That is very true because I know in like this situation and other situations, because these situations come up, I believe every season almost every season it comes up. You're like, wait a minute. And I've definitely dealt with that fear of. I call it the fear of the unknown because at times I used to be a control freak and I like to know what's going on and exactly what's going to happen before I make a decision to go. But, you know, I'm letting that go. I'm getting better. We're getting better now. Guys, I do want to let you know right now that if you, we want to get into real quick a few things that can really help explode your business and a few of the techniques that we use each and every day to do it. But first, I want to make sure that you know, just stay all the way to the end so you can get every single nugget. Make sure you're taking notes because Apple and I are ones, we just talk, but in the midst of our talking, it's never random. Okay, there's never a coincidence. We're speaking and we're saying things that actually are working and that have brought us to a certain place. Under the video right here, I believe if you're on our site, there's a little area where you can leave comments. If you have any questions about your business or where it's going or what you've been doing and why it's not working, how to tweak it, this and the other, please leave any questions down there, your comments, you know, share this information with your teams. And if you're just starting out, begin to come and visit with us every week and take notes and start to implement this information into your business. Now, Apple and I, we basically leverage the internet in order to grow our business. And that is how we deal with a rejection-free business. We do not walk up to strangers and ask them about their options, their business options. We do not walk up to strangers and start throwing up about our business because I really feel like I got threw up on today while I was in the gym because literally I could write an essay about this dude's company for real. And I had no desire. I'm just sitting there like, oh, okay. I know the leaders of the company, know the top earners. I know where their home office is. Like I know everything. Y'all asked not one question. Not one question. Okay. So, you know, we can, you know, all of these things, Apple and I, now, I'm not going to sit here and say I haven't done that because I have, like I told y'all before, yet there's a better way.
I have a quick story. You just reminded me, and I'll share this because, you know, we don't ever want to give the impression that we are above, you know, these techniques that we've never done it. When I first started marketing, I did stuff like, so I was in a health and wellness company. One of the companies I was in, it wasn't my first one, but I was in a health and wellness company. And so they told us to, you know, buy these postcards and go to the gym and pass out postcards for, you know, the weight loss stuff that we had. And I was pregnant at the time, so I wasn't comfortable really going in the gym. And I remember going to the gym and running by people's cars and putting my flyers on their cars.
That right there isn't a bad idea. Though. I was like, that's not a bad idea. I've done that at Walmart before. And I brought friends with.
I remember going into, because we sold body garments, and I remember going into Walmart and going in all of the bridal magazines and throwing the postcards and the, you know, the business cards inside the bridal magazines. Now, that was a complete waste of money because these people don't know who I am. I've never seen them. I've never had a conversation with them. It's just a flyer on their card or it's just another flyer in a magazine that gets tossed in the trash. So not only was it a complete waste of time, it was a complete waste of money. You know what I mean? And for someone just starting out, that's not really where I need to be allocating those, those funds. So yeah, I don't know why when you were saying that, because I never was really good at talking to people in the grocery store. I got approached by a Mary Kay rep one time, in a grocery store, and I'm comfortable because everybody knows Mary Kay. It's not really a big deal, but you know, but what I did like about it is she was so comfortable. She was an older lady, so she had a different kind of approach. It wasn't really like salesy. It was just like, oh, hey, young lady, how you doing? Oh, I see you got your baby, or oh, I see you pregnant, and this and this and that. And her approach was real smooth. And I thought, God, that would be really great if I knew how to do that. And then I thought, no, it wouldn't, because I would never do it. I don't have that kind of personality. And I think that's another reason why people don't always find success in direct selling, because they try these other tactics that it may not be that you're a failure. It may not even be that the strategy is a failure. It just may be that that's not the particular method for you. And so what we're talking about is finding that thing that works for you, if that makes sense. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, that's
good. That's good. Yes, and that's exactly it. Now, one thing on our Hangout, we have actually found our success through blogging and internet marketing. Okay. Now, Apple, you've been blogging for how long? Since
I've had my blog since 2010, my actual blog, but I actually started probably 2008, 2009, because I started doing article marketing. It was paid article marketing, so I was on some of the sites that you get paid for to write articles about, different things, how-to topics, that kind of stuff. So I started with that, and then a friend said, well, why don't you try getting your own blog? And I was like, well, what's that? So got a blog or whatever, and I did all the free ones. I had a Blogger blog, I had a WordPress blog, like a WordPress.com blog, and I think I still have them. I think they're still out there somewhere. I don't know.
They are still out there.
But I have that kind of stuff, and I tried it for a while, and then once I got onto the internet and got back into direct sales and learned about internet marketing and that you could actually do stuff online, I found out about the WordPress.org kind of blogs. But that presented a whole nother set of challenges, because I had to learn Photoshop, because I didn't have the money to pay nobody to design for me, so I had to learn how to design myself, which was, hindsight is 2020. I picked up a new skill along the way. I had to learn a little bit of coding, how to learn some HTML, how to learn SEO, how to learn, plugins, not plugins, and page load and speed.
Stop! I can't take it.
Alexa rank.
Oh my God, you're hurting me right now. It was a painful time in my life. Oh my God. Oh my God, I had flashbacks. When you said a few things, I was like, I felt myself start to kind of twitch a little bit. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Header dimensions and banners and, what goes where and how to make it look right and how to attract people to it, and, your email capture page that has to go on your blog, because your blog doesn't come standard. Blogs just don't come standard with email capture pages. Then you got to learn how to operate the Awebers and the Get Response and the MailChimps and whatever, Constant Contact and whatever it is that you're using, so it presents like it's a whole nother set of challenges, and I overcame those challenges, of course, but good God, it gives me a headache thinking about it.
Oh my God, that's like I remember my Blogger. I went and checked. I said they're still there because I just went recently and checked and found my first Blogger. I had my first WordPress, and then I decided to go on this venture because I came online in 2008, and in 2009 I decided to create my own blog. Right, my first WordPress that was all mine that I did from scratch. And oh my Jesus, that thing. It almost beat me. I ain't even gonna lie. I remember I had put in, when I tell you I used to put in like 5 hours a day, every day, working on this thing, learning a technique so I knew what I was doing and then doing it. One little like image in a corner or something. Like it wasn't like it was all flashy. And I remember like going in 4.5 months, I've been doing this every day for 5 hours, and I pressed some button and it was all gone. Like I was just like, wait. I think some tears popped out my eyes. It was hitting my glasses. Y'all, it was not right. It was not right. But then I knew I couldn't quit. Comes back to the whole reasons why we're here. You know, you see your daughters, I see my daughters walking around, and I'm like, I gotta do this again. This is gonna be the way. I gotta get it done. And to learn all of that, to learn all that stuff. And then there's always a way to surround yourself with people who can fix things. Okay? Because usually it was just like a click of a button. But I definitely can say that because of that experience, I can appreciate what's available to those coming up today.
Right.
Can you, Apple?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I almost feel like a parent talking to a child when I say this, but your parents are like, oh, please, you're complaining about that. You had it easy. When I was a kid, I had to walk 5 miles to the grocery store, 10 miles to school in the snow with no snow boots, shoes had holes in them, no sock. I mean, I feel like that when I talk about some of the things that are going on now in internet marketing versus what was going on when we were coming up in it. You don't have to code and do this and do that. If you want to be a blogger now, you got a viral blog system that's just plug and play. It's just boom, got it. Everything's taken care of. Hosting, domain, like all of that's taken care of. I don't really got to worry about, half the technical stuff that we did. And so, yeah, I feel like an old person saying that, but not even just from a blogging perspective, but just from an internet marketing perspective, there are systems in place now that teach you exactly what you need to know and what you should be marketing, and they really shortcut that learning curve for you, as opposed to when we were coming up and spending, I have notebooks and notebooks and notebooks of hours and hours and hours and hours of education, and not that that's not valuable, because as we know, readers are leaders, and you never really stop learning, you never really stop growing, but now I can put my time into learning some of the other stuff that I need to, as opposed to spending my time learning about these technical aspects, that often do not pay, because they're really just the setup. They keep you from actually succeeding and making the money that you're there to make. It's not an IPA. It's more of just a time waster and something that you should either be outsourcing or that, should just be already included for you.
Right, exactly. And that is so true. And it's even like a thing of something I heard, well, I was saying it the other day was, and I heard a guy say it to me today, actually, earn while you learn. Now we have ways where we can earn while we learn. Right. You know what I mean? If you consider how far the internet has come, and honestly, if you're in direct selling right now, you're not using the internet for your business except to send people to your website that the company gave you. If that's the only and then, okay, social media to put up that you're in a different business. Those are the only ways you're using the internet right now for your business, is to tell people to go to your website that the company gave you. There's so much more stuff, and it's only about picking just one. And when I tell you, it literally feels like you just stepped out to the place you want to be. For me, it would be the beach. You just stepped out into some white sands, and the ocean's just real smooth, and everything is right how it should be in the world. That is the only way I can really explain it, to be completely honest with you, is when you really begin to see the different ways there are to use the internet. I mean, if you think about 15 years ago, I don't know about y'all, I told you I was going to tell y'all my age, but I was around when there wasn't no cell phones. When if you wanted to holler at somebody, you had to reach me when I got home, right? I remember pagers, so now you got to beat me, and I got to find a phone. And I
remember begging my mom for a pager. I begged for a pager. I sure did, and they would not let me have one. I think because I have friends in high school, they're like, 13, 14, they had pagers. I couldn't get one. I was like almost 17 before I was allowed to have a pager.
I think, honestly, I got my own from some friend or whatever. I was like, I'm gonna need one of those. Let me have one. I don't believe my family. I don't think I got one from home. I think I got one from somebody else.
I got one for Christmas. I was like 16, turning 17 or something like that.
And you was down. That was it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was it.
So the way things are now with you remember when we had Atari, we had Nintendo, before Wii days, right? And then you go on, and there's the internet is the way to get a computer, first off, in general, you on a computer and you at DOS, DOS. It's a black screen with little white letters on the
Wait,
side,
first of all, if you had a computer, you were balling
right?
because it wasn't like now where you could just, you go into a store and you got ample computers and laptops, you got tablets and choices and nah, like if you had a computer in your home, like at your house, you were balling.
You was doing it,
Because they weren't cheap. And then to have internet, and remember, I mean, you remember the dial-up internet,
The
right?
dial-up.
You unplug the phone cord, right, and it would dial in for you. And there was no like Yahoo. It was AOL.
Yeah, only,
Only
right?
AOL.
Oh my God! I mean, just
Younger marketers coming up.
and now you have your phone. You can literally. Today I'm at the gym and I'm watching one of these like you're watching right now. Listening to it, it's sitting up there, just right there, sitting there, playing as if I'm looking at it on TV or something. Like, granted, I don't have a Samsung Note because them jokers like a mini widescreen. Y'all, if you ever know it, I'm not making fun of your phone. My stepdad got one, and I always got jokes for that big old, that big old thing. I can't, you can comment if you got no, my bad. It's big. You can't act like your phone's not big. It is. But, I kind of wish I had one, though, at the gym on the bike. I ain't going to lie. Because that big screen would be nice for what I'd be watching. But, honestly, the way technology has moved along and just really simplified how you can leverage the internet. Just like if you're at a job, you're being leveraged right now every day. You are in a position where you can do that same kind of leveraging with the internet like a CEO of a multi-million-dollar corporation. Right. The only difference is now you're the multi-million-dollar, CEO of that corporation. That's the only difference. That's what is available to you on the internet.
Exactly. I mean, the ease and the availability of running a business now, it doesn't take a lot. I remember we were at one of the conferences that we were at for the company that you and I are in. And one of the leaders got up and basically was like, if you want to move to such and such country, all you need right now, because of the business, because of the opportunity, he's like, all you really need is X amount of money, and it wasn't a lot, X amount of money in a laptop, or X amount of money in a cell phone that has, a smartphone that has the capabilities pretty much of a computer, except for maybe, download, not necessarily downloads, but the Word and, all of that other stuff like that. I mean, it does not take a lot now to get started in a business, and it doesn't take a lot to succeed. A lot of people think that this is rocket science. It's really not. You would be surprised. And honestly, I'm going to say this, people might get offended, but it really seems like the slower you are, the easier this is to do, because I am the queen of overcomplication. And there are people, and look, we're human. You look at people and be like, I know I'm smarter than them. I know I'm smarter than them. But for some reason, we overcomplicate things. You know what I mean? It's like one of those, you're too smart for your own good. It doesn't take a lot. And like Shalonda was saying earlier, one of the most important things that you can do is partner up with a mentor, a community, a system that makes it so easy for you that all you have to do is follow instructions. We played Follow the Leader when we were kids, right? That's it. Right. We played Simon Says when we were kids, right? That's it. All you're doing is an adult game of Simon Says where you actually get paid to do what Simon says, right? When you look at it that way, then you tend to be able to not overcomplicate things.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. And I'm gonna be honest and say that that's what actually the exact thing that worked for me. I actually had to just stop, allow what I thought and all that to stop, and just listen, right, and then pay attention, and then implement exactly what that was. And the minute that happened, the minute I just and it's such a step of, I mean, at least what we're in right now, what we do as far as helping. It's such a process where we have it lined out to step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's not just all this stuff and you kind of pick what it is. No. Here's where you start. And it doesn't really matter what level you're at that moment, right? Because like I said, we both, you and I, had experience, But even when you go to a new job, a way I can relate this is going to a new job and you have experience. You still have to learn how to do that job.
Right.
You know,
You
you still have
still
to
have
learn
to
how to
learn
do that job.
their acronyms, their system, their way of doing things. Even if you have the same title that you have somewhere else, the way one company does it is not going to be the way that the other company does. That's just how it is.
Exactly. Exactly. And so it's just lovely when you got those directions, you know. And I've realized the older I get, I mean, I say this often, the older I get, the less I know. It is what it is. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, when I was 13, I knew everything.
Did we all?
Right?
Look, I know my mom has some horror stories about me at 13 thinking I know it all. I still think I know it all sometimes.
You know, me too. It's funny because like the kids say my 6-year-old be coming at me and I'll be like, she'd be like, oh, I didn't know that. And I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot you don't know. You six. You're six.
Wait a minute, I got 2 6-year-olds, so don't even get me started on the stuff that goes down in my house and the stuff that is said to me on a consistent basis. Like, if you don't go in there, sit down somewhere.
Oh,
But they be right half the time, and that's the funny thing about it.
yeah, exactly. Kind of be like, okay, okay. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But oh, that was funny. Just thinking about that because I think she said it just yesterday. It catches me every time, like it's the first time. You know what I'm saying?
But it's that honesty, you know, it's not necessarily even that they're trying to be one way or the other, that they're trying to be facetious or anything like that. It's just kids are just brutally honest, you know, they just are. They don't really have that filter just yet, you know.
Yes, that is so true. That is so true. Okay, so we are going to be back here on what
Next
next
week. Next
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Yep, same time, same bat channel. Um, I believe, right? Yeah,
We should.
guys.
Now, here's the thing, because we talked about testing earlier, you guys. So we may be playing around with the times and seeing what works. You know, we may even send a survey out to you guys. Those of you who are already on our list, those of you who are already connected with us on social media, and seeing what time works best for you. Because ultimately, you know, number one, we don't want to be talking to ourselves. We can do that on the phone. But number two, we want to make sure that we're providing the right value for you guys, and we're giving you the skills that you need to be successful in your business. And so we want to do it at a time that is not just convenient for us, but also convenient for you, where you can actually sit down and focus and get the learning, where you're not fooling with the kids, or for those of you that are working, where you're not necessarily having to try to watch this in secret at a job or on a lunch break. I remember when I was working, I'd be trying to shoot videos and I would take my breaks. Literally, if you look at literally, if you look at some of my videos, I would be taking a break and I would go in my car, grab my cell phone, and shoot a quick video in my cell phone, and then go back to the office, like in my car on my break. I would do this on breaks and on lunch. And so we want this to be at a time where you can actually sit down, where you can focus. You don't got to minimize the screen. You're not trying to listen on headphones, and then your boss is looking at you like, well, why you got headphones on? You know, and so we want you to be able to focus in on the things that we're saying. You know, this particular one is our first one. It's definitely the introduction, and so we kind of want to give you guys a taste of some of the things that we'll be talking about, and just a high-level overview of how to be successful in direct selling. But going forward, we definitely want to make sure that we are strategic about this and that you guys are getting the things that you need to be successful.
Yes, yes. And I do know for a fact that there were a few individuals that already expressed that they were kind of ready just to take charge of everything in their business and move forward. And
Right.
we considered that as well. And so right now, under this video, you will see a button to work with Apple, work with Shalonda. Whoever invited you here, go ahead and click that button and get locked in, because we have so many extras that we have put together just for that, that honestly you don't want to miss out on that, because it goes even deeper. And some things, I'm just going to be honest with you, we've spent a lot of time learning information, but
And
not just because, but because we desire a new life. you
right.
know and some things, I'll be honest with y'all, I go out and I find out some things that they really don't want you to know, and I'm not going to tell you who they is. I'm just going to tell you they don't want you to know. Apple, do you know who they is? Right. Right. So we've found out these things, okay? And so make sure that you come back and that you are not missing any of these episodes, because we are ready to share with you what they don't want you to know. And this week, turn the news off, clear your mind. This is my opinion on that. Click the buttons under this video so that you can go ahead and get locked in, so that you can begin to actually see results, immediate results into your business as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, you guys. You don't want to miss out. You want to definitely partner with us, as Shalonda said. I don't think there's much I can add to that other than do it now. And Shalonda knows what that means. That's the insider, right?
Now. Right now, no. So,
that's it, period.
That's right. The end. The end. So, yeah, we look for this. Is going to be a good time. This was funny. It's going to be a good time. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Sometimes Apple gets on my nerves. And I ain't going to be afraid in front of y'all to let y'all know it, too. So, but it's funny because I get on her nerves, too. So, but look. So, guys, when you're watching us and stuff, be sure that you're leaving comments, because we want to know what you're thinking. Again, we're marketers. We test. We need to know what you're thinking. You can't, and for your market, you want to know what they're thinking, right? You want to know what they're thinking. So leave comments. Let us know. Feel free. You have a right to feel how you feel, but like I told my daughter the other day, you don't have a right to determine how I respond.
Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. So here's the thing, guys, because we're getting ready to go ahead and wrap this up. We're almost an hour in this thing. We're at about, well, for Shalonda, she's on the East Coast, but we're at about 50 minutes in. Go ahead and leave your comments below. Definitely, not only do we want to know what you're thinking, but if you have suggestions, or maybe that there's certain things that you are struggling with in the direct sales industry and you have a question about it, go ahead and leave comment below, and we can either, who knows, one day bring you on as a guest, or maybe we can even just cover that topic for you to give you a better understanding. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, you guys. Like Shalonda was saying, there are 2 buttons below this video. It is up to you now to make the decision to join us, to partner with us, get some of that exclusive training, and partner with the community that really cares about you and that's going to show you how to succeed in direct selling. So go ahead and click the button now, you guys, and we will see you next week, same time, same place. Have a good day.
Bye. Keep smiling.